Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính on Monday hosts a reception for Under-Secretary General of the United Nations and Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic and Social Commissions for Asia and Pacific.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính reassured Vietnam attaches importance to the role of the United Nations in promoting multilateralism to settle global issues, as well as the ESCAP's contribution to socio-economic development in the Asia-Pacific region since it was founded more than 75 years ago. The Prime Minister called on the United Nations in general and the ESCAP in particular to continue support for the member countries in formulating and implementing socio-economic development policies. UN Under-Secretary General Alicia Bana spoke highly of Vietnam's socio-economic development achievements and post-COVID recovery, as well as the country's efforts and commitments to realize sustainable development goals. And the United Nations agencies stand ready to assist Vietnam in beefing up the implementation of the SDGs, just energy transition, climate change adaptation, and digital transformation.
Vietnam attaches importance to relations with the U.S. and wants to continue developing the ties for the benefit of their people. Chairman of the Party Central Committee Commission for Foreign Affairs, Lê Hoài Trung, made their statements at the meeting with U.S. officials during his walking visit to the U.S. at the invitation of the U.S. Department of State.
In Washington, D.C., the Vietnamese delegation had working sessions with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, Administrator of the United States Agency for International Development Samantha Power, Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs Daniel Green, Deputy Undersecretary of Defense for Policy Sasha Baker. In New York, the delegation was with UN Undersecretary General for Policy Guy Ryder and had an online discussion with U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate John Kerry. The U.S. officer affirmed that the U.S. considers Vietnam one of its key partners in the region, agreeing that the bilateral relations have enjoyed support from both the Democratic Party and Republican Party. They emphasized the desire to maintain exchanges and meetings at all levels, especially at high level. For its part, Mr. Lê Hoài Trung suggested the two sides continue promoting high-level exchanges and meetings, improving the efficiency of cooperation via the party state and people-to-people diplomatic channels in line with the results of the phone talks between General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng and President Joe Biden.
Aquatic product exporters hope for the recovery in remaining month. Vietnam's ice mill coffee ranks second in world by Taste Atlas. Despite a downward trend in aquatic product export in the first half of 2023, the lower pace of month-on-month decline is giving hope for a recovery in the remaining month of this year.
In June, aquatic product exports brought home nearly $800 million, down 21%, of which shrimp exports posted a turnover of $341 million, down 18% year-on-year, marking the lowest decline since the beginning of this year. The export value of aquatic products hit nearly $4.2 billion in the first half of 2023, down over 27% year-on-year. Weak market demand and hikes in the prices of feed, fries, and other input expenses, leading to higher production costs. Despite lower selling prices, it remains difficult to find buyers. However, several markets like Japan, South Korea, and Australia are still considered promising for Vietnam's products of strength. Some Southeast Asian markets have also seen as potential due to their stable economies, lower inflation, and geographical advantages, along with tariff benefits from free trade agreements.
Vietnam's iced coffee with condensed milk ranks second in the best rated iced coffee list by Taste Atlas. Italy's ristretto lens third place and the Vietnamese coffee came in at a close second in the list. Taste Atlas note Vietnam's use of Robusta coffee, widely grown in the country, particularly in Đắk Lắk province in the Tây Nguyên, Central Highlands regions. Vietnamese way to make coffee isn't replicated and marked everywhere else in the world, and boiled water is poured into a metal coffee filler that rests on the top of the glass. Strong coffee drops into the glass and mixed with a pour of sweet condenser milk and ice, the result is highly moist drink that packs a strong punch. The National Assembly approved extending tourist e-visa from the 30 to 90 days, starting from August 15. The extension is expected to encourage flows of tourists to Europe.
From August the 15th, people with Vietnamese e-visas can enter and exit the country as many times as they wish within 90 days without the process of obtaining a new visa. This is a long-awaited and major overhaul of the country's visa system that is expected to revive tourism and hospitality. Citizens of certain countries for whom Vietnam waives visa requirements can now stay for 45 days instead of the earlier 15.
The relaxation of visa regulations is expected to help the tourism sector remove bottlenecks in attracting foreign visitors.
I'm happy about the extension of the visas. It's a very welcome approval and really makes Vietnam competitive against the rest of the world.
Tourism experts are optimistic that the move could encourage flows of high-end tourists from Europe who tend to travel for long periods.
The extension of visa exemptions to 45 days will also encourage tourists to spend more money during their extended stays, thus contributing significantly to Vietnam's economy.
Vietnam issues e-visas to citizens from 80 countries. E-visas issued by the Immigration Department to foreigners through the e-transaction system are currently only valid for one trip. The new visa policy will take effect on August the 15th, which coincides with the peak of foreign tourism in Vietnam.
That's the end for today. Thanks for your watching and see you next time.